Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, is the Public Safety and Justice Affairs Committee meeting this Tuesday, June 11th. Still waiting for summer. Roll call, please.
And just as a reminder to all who are in attendance, this meeting is being recorded and live streamed on the county's YouTube page. Calling the roll, Mr. Gallagher.
Here.
Ms. Conwell.
Present.
Mr. Kelly.
Here.
Ms. Simon. Ms. Simon is absent at the moment. Mr. Byrne.
Here.
There is a quorum.
We have public comment.
No, Mr. Chair, no one has signed in.
In your packets, there are the meeting minutes of May 21st. I'll accept the motion in a second if they're in order.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Against? Thank you. 2024-0206.
Resolution number 2024-0206, authorizing an amendment to a revenue-generating agreement with Securus Technologies for inmate telecommunications system and maintenance services.
Good afternoon. Chief Soltis from the Summit County Sheriff's Department, here to represent this matter. It's a resolution authorizing amendment to the revenue with Securus. It's a revenue building, and I'd like to present that for continued service to the jail.
Okay, Chief. For the edification of the committee, this has nothing to do with the issues that Securus and the county have been negotiating. So this is the service to the inmates for communication devices from the beginning of this contract, which for all indications are that it's worked fantastically without complaint. And, or have we had complaints?
No, it works very effectively. We've now added tablets, which is part of that program, and the inmates have embraced that. It's also helped us with management.
Right. So this is not to do with any of the other stuff. This is specifically for that service, which again, as I say, all indications are that it's been a success, and others are looking to implement it potentially in their facilities.
Yes, that's correct. Yes.
Questions for Chief Soltis? Yes, ma'am.
Just for clarification, through the chair to Chief Soltis. So we're on 0154, the regional HIV prevention. Is that the one we're on?
No,
Janine?
that was the
Oh,
earlier
okay.
committee.
Oh, I'm looking at the wrong. I wonder why I had two packets. Sorry about that.
But that one did go swimmingly.
Okay, all right. All right, so no questions then. Thank
Okay,
you.
excellent, because I did not know anything about that one. Thanks.
I thought we had a cure there. So.
All right, very good.
Any other concerns or questions regarding this? And again, this is nothing to do with the other stuff.
That's correct.
This is pigeonholed into this service alone.
Thank you.
Looking at the dates, I would imagine you want to move this forward.
Yes, please.
If everybody is comfortable in moving this forward under suspension, I'll accept a motion on Resolution 2024-0206 of the full council under second reading suspension.
I'll make a second since I've been clarified.
Very good, thank you.
Is that a motion, ma'am?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Against? Thank you, Chief. And, from myself and I know my colleagues, I know you've given your notice. You're going to be retiring for the second time. Your service to this county has been just immense and immeasurable as far as helping us out here. You'll be greatly missed, and personally, I wish you the best.
A tremendous honor to be part of your team. Thanks.
Thank you. 2024-0207.
Resolution number 2024-0207, adopting the Cuyahoga County 911 plan.
Good afternoon, Council. How is everyone?
Hello, Brandy Carney.
How are you?
ya?
Good.
You're bringing a hint of sunshine to somewhat of a sunshiny day.
I'm trying. Brandy Carney, Director of Public Safety and Justice for the county, and I also have with me Public Safety and Justice Deputy Director Jill Smilek, who many of you probably know. She's been with the county for some time. We have both items today, and in case there's additional items regarding the FJC lease, Jill's also here to speak. Councilman Gallagher, can I start the PowerPoint? I have a couple slides, if
Yeah,
that's okay.
go ahead.
Thank you. Just a few slides, 3, I think, on each. So I'm here today requesting an adoption of our countywide 911 plan. Last year, Chapter 128 of Ohio Revised Code for 911, covering 911 services, had a significant update that was probably the most significant that I can recall. The entire chapter was really overhauled. The plan, we are required in Cuyahoga County, just as every other county in the state, to have a 911 plan on file. We've maintained that 911 plan for many, many years as required. There were just additional changes last year that were made requiring additional adoptions at the local level to happen. So this isn't a new plan that we wrote. We've had it on file for many years. It's covered all of our communities for many years. Just with the changes last year, additional adoptions had to occur at the local level. And just for a clarification for people, this is not the 911 consolidation plan that we completed in 2013. This is a totally separate plan. It includes things such as technological. Oh, sorry, I have another slide. Here it is. Oh, sorry about that. The plan must be filed with the state after we receive the adoptions, and the state requires that 60% of the population is covered via adoption at the local level for resolutions. So at the beginning of this year, we started the process, and we had reached out in springtime to each of the communities in Cuyahoga County, and they had to take this plan through their local council, so all 59 of them, through their local council requesting adoption or not of the plan. We're required to meet 60% adoption. As of today, we've received already 60% of the population is covered. City of Cleveland was a big one, and that one was adopted last week. So we are able to file our plan now and send down the resolutions to the state. We are covered, although I'm still expected to receive a number of resolutions that are still stuck in different committees throughout the county.
Mr. Chairman? If I may, could I ask a question before we go to the next slide? Director,
Hello, Councilman?
do you have any idea why it is that some of the communities don't want to pass this through their councils or whatever? Do you think it's lack of understanding, or I don't understand why? I know there's issues, and there's some in my district, and I'm just curious why that might be.
Sure. Thank you, Councilman. Through the chairman,
Do you want to answer that?
I'll take a stab. Do I?
I was going to throw you a lifeline. Go ahead.
I appreciate that. Through the chairman, through to the councilman, I would say that I haven't had any other negative feedback or confusion throughout the county except for that particular area. I think some of it might be because, as I stated, there were a lot of changes last year that were made, and so some of it might be confusion. Myself and my office has worked really hard to try and make sure that we are very clear in the direction to all the communities. There is nothing in this plan currently that I see that that should be negatively impact. There were some concerns about funding that I heard from your jurisdiction. And some people or some communities had wanted something specific to, for example, never being charged for something in the future. And that's not something the plan currently does. The plan just states the current climate and the atmosphere of how we operate 911 today.
Through the chair to the director, I know you've done a good job talking with these groups and that. I'm just curious if you had heard any kind of negative feedback other than the possible fear of being charged or whatever. That pretty much
Through
it?
the chairman to the councilman, I haven't. Again, I'm not aware of any community that didn't pass it. As I mentioned, I received all the other resolutions so far and I'm expected to receive more. I did hear that one of your communities might have kept it in committee, but I wasn't personally contacted and asked to attend their council meetings. I did offer that up to all the communities also.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Councilman. Just a few quick updates regarding the plan. So the current 911 system in Cuyahoga County, we have 23 public safety answering points, also called PSAPs. That does include CCOMs and one secondary PSAP. Secondary means a call goes to the police department first, and then for one of the West Side centers only, there's an all-fire dispatch center, so that's considered a second, and it transfers from police to that fire dispatch. Each PSAP or dispatch center, it's also called, call answering positions are equipped by the county. So we have a contract with Motorola. It was a 10-year contract that we have approximately 3 years left on. We hold that contract and we pay for the countywide 911 system that every dispatcher uses in those 23 centers, as well as currently the network for that, for the 911 system. We are currently the only wireless PSAP. The wireless PSAP means that all cell phone calls, when you call 911 from a cell phone, they go directly to the first person who answers, which is CCOMS for Cuyahoga County. We are currently, we started a pilot at the beginning of this year with one of the locations for Chagrin Valley, and that is for them to answer their own cell phone calls at one of their locations. We're using that as a pilot to identify some baseline and how we're going to allow for in the future for other communities to come forward and request their calls, and a process so that we don't get, so that we have a thorough process, because what we don't want is, because of the risk with something like 911, someone taking their calls, and if they don't meet minimum call standards, or if there's a lot of call rerouting throughout the county, there could be a large risk that could come with that. So we want to make sure to mitigate any of those issues. The future 911 system, we are transitioning throughout the state to a next-gen 911 system. It's currently being piloted with the state in 10 counties. The expectation is at the end of this year, after those pilots, that the state would certify their 911 system. Once that occurs, they have 5 years for statewide next-gen 911 system. Because currently here in Cuyahoga County, we have our own 911 system network, as I mentioned, with all of our dispatch centers. At this time, what we'll do is we'll keep our network, we'll keep our 911 system, and then we can just connect into the state system. So we'd still be part of it, but still keep our closed network up here. And to make sure things time appropriately with that, I'll be coming in front of you soon to do a brief, maybe 2 to 3 year extension of the current contract, so that, again, that transition can occur at once when the state is ready for us. And just a couple of notes about the funding structure, particularly because of the comment that I made before. Monthly disbursements currently from the state come to us as the county. That's funding that we use to purchase the system, which they all use. So it's called wireless funding that comes from the state every month. That's what we use that funding for. I already mentioned about the expiration of the contract in 2025. And we do have, I put this on there, the 911 plan initially envisioned a cost-sharing structure. Many years ago, we began talking about some of the dispatch centers throughout the county who are not a regional dispatch center to pay some of their costs. However, that item had been tabled at the time and has continued to be tabled at this point. There's no further update, but it's a discussion that has happened in the past at our board level, our 911 program review committee level. Okay, and that's all I have regarding this item, Chairman. For the other item, I do have 2 slides also.
Questions? Yes, sir.
Just a quick question through the chair. Brandy, PSAPs are the same as dispatch centers, and there's still 23 separate dispatch centers in the county?
Through the chairman to the councilman, yes. So a dispatch center is otherwise called a public safety answering point, or PSAP. We started off with the consolidation plan in 2013 with 48. We are down to 23, but we'd still like to see that number continue to go smaller. The second most in the state, I think, has 5 in Southern Ohio.
Yeah.
Struggle we've dealt with for 16 years now, at least, or 15 years since we've been around.
I remember those discussions.
Those are bad
Started.
days.
Just a question.
Yes, ma'am.
On that point,
If we could recognize that, Ms. Simons.
Sonny, on that point, so the smallest you said is 5? I just heard the number.
I think Franklin County has 5 dispatch centers.
Yeah, but that's different. I mean,
I would say everywhere throughout the state is different, but we are an anomaly, definitely having 23 still. But
you
we've
think-
made significant
What would be
strides.
your ideal number? I don't think it's 5, but maybe it is.
I think it could be a lot of things. You know, I think we have a lot of communities here in Cuyahoga County, and so that's important to take into account. We have a lot of police departments and fire departments and borders. I think 5 is attainable at some point. I really do. I think there's a couple different options we could get down to. We've never forced anybody to consolidate. We've just encouraged, but I definitely would like to see it get lower.
Okay.
Yeah, our discussions from long ago has been 1 east, 1 west, 1 southwest, 1 southeast, and Cleveland Central. Would, and that, even that is a little bit of overkill, but palatable.
Agreed.
But as everyone knows in Ohio, Cuyahoga County's special.
We're all very special.
We are. Anything further? Seeing none, and there's no reason, do you want to file this ASAP?
I would ask if we could, just because of the time to get down to the state, to get these resolutions down to the state and this adoption, if possible, if I could ask for a suspension.
If the committee's okay with moving this forward, I'll accept the motion for 2024-0207. So moved. To the full council under second reading suspension.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Against? Thank you.
Thank you.
2024-0222.
Resolution number 2024-0222, authorizing a revenue generating agreement with City of Cleveland in an amount not to exceed $871,500 for the operation of the Family Justice Center located at 75 Erie View Plaza, Cleveland.
Again, Brandy Carney, Public Safety and Justice Director for Cuyahoga County. I just have 2 slides here to talk about this agreement. This is an agreement that we have for the Family Justice Center. That's at 75 Erie View Plaza. It's not a county-owned building, but the building does also have a lot of City of Cleveland offices, such as their health office and others in it. That is where some of my Witness Victim Service Center staff is stationed at, along with the Family Justice Center. This agreement in front of you is a revenue-generating agreement with the City of Cleveland. It's for our lease of the center. We share that with the City of Cleveland. We have multiple partners that are included within the Family Justice Center or as partners externally with us. That's Frontline Services, Journey Center, Ohio Crime Justice Center, and Cleveland Police and prosecutors. This particular agreement is an extension of the partnership that we started in 2014 when we started the Family Justice Center. It opened in November of 14, has continued to grow its footprint. There's a chart there showing the growth that we've had continuously over the years with victims and services. It provides a starting place for victims of crime with a particular focus on stalking and domestic violence crimes. We can provide protection orders, for example. It's a starting place for victims who don't know how to possibly navigate the system. So we work with them on the front end to try and help mitigate that process with them and work with them going through that, the process. The next slide shows the cost of the agreement. As you can see, the City of Cleveland I'll say the third column is the FJC lease that we have annually, and the second column shows Cleveland's contribution to the agreement. And so we provide staff at the center, and the city of Cleveland does cover the lease for the center. And the $50,000, as you can see, was a carryover that we had from last year. So I'm happy to answer any other questions, or Jill can. As you guys probably know, some of the other services we provide or our partners can provide are things, counseling we provide for them. There's legal aid, legal services, housing services, things of that nature with partners.
Just to follow up.
Yes, ma'am.
So I like the trajectory and the graph showing the trend of usage. Is it consistently the same type of needs and services coming through DVs?
It is. We've increased walk-in clients, as you can see, continually, but I'm going to let Jill answer this one for you guys.
Thank you. Through the chair to the Councilwoman Jill Smilek from, I almost said witness victim, but that's not the case anymore. Deputy Director for Public Safety. So the walk-in clients have increased over time. I would say the complexity has also increased as other societal factors have changed. So since COVID, violence is much more significant, I think, much more dangerous than it was previously. Isolation certainly grew. People were unsure how they could find housing in such an unstable time. So things have kind of been just a little bit, just more complex over time. But we're still seeing a majority stalking, followed by domestic violence. And those stalking cases tend to be related to previously violent relationships, as you could imagine. So that has ended. People have moved on to safety, but there's still some sort of ex-boyfriend who's now harassing a new boyfriend or something like that. So it's just kind of the remnants of those violent relationships.
So Jill, in terms of the walk-ins, so how is this comparing with the CPO, like domestic relations center downstairs in the courthouse?
Through the chair to Councilwoman Simon, I think everybody is struggling to keep up with demand. I know for sure Domestic Relations Court has been struggling over time. We share clients in a lot of ways. There's still, those referrals that are coming in for Witness Victim Service Center for domestic violence cases that are being prosecuted. A lot of times those individuals are kind of dual referred into a protection order. So we try to pull it apart as much as we can to make sure people are not going too many places, they're not duplicating their questions and their
That was my
concerns.
concern when we started.
Yes.
You
Yep.
recall?
Yeah, so and I think that was, there was some fear about duplication with what Journey Center does. So we work very closely with Journey. They are on site with us still, which is wonderful. We lost them during COVID for a while, but they are back. So that's just a constant communication between different partner agencies and making sure that we have the right people in the right places.
Okay, thank you. And now that you're here with us at the county, right, you made a change. So is somebody replacing you and what you did over at the center?
Yes, yeah. Through the chair to Councilwoman Simon, we have Kimberly Bizup, who's actually here today. She is our manager of Witness Victim Services. She was a victim advocate for us for many years in some of our highest risk cases, very significant homicides, and then left to get some credentialing in the mental health field, and then came back to us last summer. So we're happy to have her.
Oh, fantastic. Welcome. Thank you. Thanks, Mr. Chair.
Anything further?
I just wanted to ask through the chair to Jill, who's over the family victims?
Yes,
Okay,
correct.
got it,
Kim,
got it.
yes.
Thought I missed it. All right.
Still, as part of public safety, we still continue to work together, but Kim's been a wonderful addition.
And our contracts are still connected, the county's contract for that.
So Witness Victim Service Center is a county agency here, and so Kim's there, and then Jill, but these partner agencies, we do have contracts with for partnering agencies.
Nothing further? Yes, ma'am.
Just the witness victim was originally funded by VOCA, wasn't it grant dollars originally? And now that's dried up. What's the status?
Yeah, thank you for that question. Through the chair to Councilwoman Conwell, that is,
Simon?
I'm sorry.
Okay. I called you Jill, I shouldn't have, but.
No,
okay.
fine. That is actually what our 2 o'clock meeting is about, is our VOCA funding. So we have had VOCA funding, which is Victim of Crime Act. It comes from the U.S. Department of Justice through the state of Ohio and out into the community. We've relied on it over the years. We used to have some victim advocate salaries charged back to VOCA. We ended that probably 5 years or so ago because things have just progressively fallen apart with VOCA. The funding has just gone down and down and down. And we are told this year to expect the state's fund is about a 40% cut. And the problem with that is that they're not distributing that equitably across communities. So some communities, they know if they got a 40% cut to their one and only victim service agency in the whole county, they would have to close their doors, and they don't want to do that. So they have some really difficult decisions to make at the state level. But what that means is that areas that are more rich in victim service providers, like an urban community, like who we serve, we are more likely to see a bigger end of the cut. So we have our application due at the end of this month. We were told to apply for flat funding from last year, but I do not anticipate that we will get that full amount of money. So it's problematic for sure.
So then what? Do we look at, you're going to come back to us?
So I think we need to look at that internally of what we can sustain with our current funding, what the service need is, what other community agencies are facing as far as their cuts, and try to look at it as holistically as possible. I do think that council, if I could give just, I guess, a warning, that I would imagine that many service providers will be coming to you for support in the
Yeah, we
coming
know.
months.
It's just across the board.
And I don't know if you have a list that you can provide us, so I don't remember. So we know that rape crisis and all those individuals that are out there, but we utilize a lot of VOCA dollars ourselves internally. Could you provide this committee with those organizations within ourselves?
Yes.
That we,
Yes,
I know it's
absolutely.
victim witness and all those, so we can start taking a look at that as
Yes.
And I would say we've
us first.
been happening, as Jill stated, for years, but particularly over the last year, we've tried to keep a really close eye on this and watch this, but definitely soon, it's finally like coming to a head here, so, but we'd be happy to provide that list of the local recipients.
And just one more question, Mr. Chair, if you'll indulge me. So what is the source of this diminishment? Is it the feds? They're just absolutely cutting it? Congress? I mean, what happened?
Through the chair to Councilwoman Simon, VOCA is funded primarily through fines and fees collected at the federal level. So as the U.S. Department of Justice ebbs and flows with what they prosecute, then the fund also ebbs and flows. So it's those fines and fees, the biggest ones are primarily from white-collar crime. So if white-collar crime, for a long time, it was being diverted. There was a diversion program that was started under the previous presidential administration, which meant that funds going into VOCA just didn't exist anymore. So there was a massive increase because there was probably 5 or 6 years ago, Experian data, which, credit and all of that, they had a significant data breach and they had a significant fine, and that fine went into VOCA. So VOCA went way up, and then the previous presidential administration had a different approach to prosecution, and then it went way down. So we had the best of times, and now we've had the worst of times.
And some irony running through that, but okay. That's all I'm going to say. Thank you.
Anything else?
So I just, to the chair, to Brandy, Chief Brandy, I just wanted to make sure, Carney, not outside, but internal county VOCA recipients?
Sure, I can provide those, our office and HHS or anyone else, but I can also provide you the list if you wanted to see just how much we receive Cuyahoga County as a whole, but absolutely, I can get that to you.
Thank you.
Okay, seeing the dates as they are, I would assume you want to move this forward.
It doesn't, we're okay with it going
Okay.
the regular course, Councilman.
Okay, well, then we'll move, if I can have a motion for 2024-0222, the full council for second reading.
So moved.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Against?
and-
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, and I don't want to belabor, so it's a three, this is a standard lease. We have a 3-year agreement, and this is what we've
four-year
been,
agreement.
4-year, I'm sorry, this is what we've been doing? Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone from the administration here? I had a question on the jail, moving forward with the new jail. Not you, Brandy. Okay, well, I'll ask that offline. Wondering where we're at. I don't know where we're at with the new jail. Money was approved in December, 6 months later, so tick-tock, ching, 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 ching. $15 million later, here we sit. Let's get moving. Thank you.